live. Nice. Okay, let's see. Alright, so we are live with Mickey Tech Tips, the Innovative Technology Show CES edition. So I'm going to be recapping everything that has happened at CES this week. So, with that said, hold on, I need to fix something. Oh, here we go. I found it. Okay. So it should be going at... Yes! Okay, so we're officially live now. So we're going to be recapping CES 2016. We're going to talk about all the major stuff that has happened, because CES is like one of those events of the year that you cannot miss. So, with that said, let's get started. So I didn't put the intro in. So okay, so it should be going now. So the first thing I want to talk about is some of the trends that's happened at CES this year. So the first, actually no, not the trends. I want to talk about the keynotes. So I watched the VW, the LG, Samsung, and Intel keynotes. Oh, and the Nvidia one. I did not do any videos on the Nvidia one. The Samsung one's coming later on tonight because I just filmed it. And the other three I have filmed already. So, basically, the keynotes are the important stuff that happens at CES. So, like, they'll announce interesting partnerships and very important stuff. Now, a lot of times they will not do their major product launches here at CES, but they would do some minor product announcements and stuff like that. Oh, crud! I also watch Netflix too, and they just do a lot of different stuff. My favorite keynote was Intel, and it just because it seemed so innovative, and he seemed so enthusiastic, and it looked really nice. If it looks like I'm lagging, I'm sorry, but anyway, so the Intel CEO showed off Intel RealSense, Curie, and all those good things, and that Swagway robot thing. But they have came a long way, Intel and everyone else that's there. My least favorite one was LG, and they just did not seem enthusiastic enough. If they would have been more enthusiastic, then maybe I would have said LG did a good job, but LG's keynote sucked. So, yeah, a lot of trends that the keynotes were talking about were like IoT, Internet of Things, connecting the stuff to the internet and connecting it to your smart home, which would tie me into my other topics too. So, yeah, it's going to be one of those things that's starting to catch up. If I had to rank them on my favorite ones, my favorite one would be Intel, second favorite VW, then Samsung, then LG. Oh, and Nvidia will go in before the LG one. So, it's one of those things. It was really neat. Some of the tech trends that they had at CES was USB Type-C, which is that new connector. I might have a picture of it. Let's see. USB Type-C. Okay, let's see if this will pull it up. So, basically, for those of you that don't know, USB Type-C is the new connector. Actually, I have one. Where did I stick it at? Oh, get it. Alright, funny thing is, I have a USB Type-C connector, but I don't have anything that connects to it. But Here's USB Type C. It's something that's different. A lot of them. Okay, so it's dropping frames. Well, USB Type C is that connector that is two. It's unidirectional, so that means I could charge something off of this, and also I could the input one. I can also have stuff using it as an output. So like a lot of devices had them at CES. If you would have asked me a year ago about it, and actually let's look at the Type C one. Capsule. Okay. So I don't know if you could see that or not, but okay. So anyway, don't know how that's coming out, but basically that is USB Type C. Basically on that is multi-directional. It's a new concept that they're starting to put on everything. Now, if you would have asked me a year ago about spring of last year when the 2015 MacBook and the 2015 Chromebook Pixel came out, would USB Type-C be the future? I would have said it's a neat concept, but the problem with it is that basically the thing, okay, I can see it looks kind of funny, but anyway, basically the thing might not ever catch on, because look at Firewall. It never caught on because USB replaced it. Thunderbolt sort of is catching on now, but it isn't that big of a deal compared to like regular USB. Now USB Type-C, I do like it because also it can send up to 100 watts of power, which is a lot for a USB standard. Also, another thing I want to point out is when it first came out last year, actually it's been out for a while, but when devices first started getting it, I saw it first with that 2015 MacBook, and I thought, oh no, it is not going to go anywhere because they only put one port on it and a headphone jack, which at least they put a headphone jack on it because I would not want to use an adapter to listen to music, which by the way, they want to do something similar with the Lightning connector on the iPhone 7 supposedly. But the problem with that is that you could only charge it one thing out. You could only have one thing plugged in at a time, or have multiple dongles coming off of it. And then, if say like your laptop was dying, you had to unplug all the stuff. So that means you had to unplug your thumb drives and keyboards and all that used regular USB, so you could charge the PC. Now they have a external USB hard drive. Lacey does, which is a company that's owned by Seagate, a internal hard drive company. And the neat thing about that is you can plug it in, use it at the same time, and charge your 2015 MacBook. The neat thing with these companies that are doing now, they're releasing it on their PC with at least maybe one or two. If it has two, then most likely one of them you can use for charging and the other one's used for data. But if it only has one, then you still have to use a regular charger. But anyway, it was neat because they had stuff running, like they had the new Thunderbolt standards, which allowed, for say like you had a external NVMe hard drive that was one of the fastest hard drives, which would be like the Intel 750 series and stuff. You could run that thing at maybe about 850 megabytes per second, which is a lot, because then you could transfer a movie, depending on your hardware and stuff, back and forth like a 2 gigabyte movie in like a few seconds. Compared to like a normal mechanical / platter drive that has the disk inside of it, compared to that, solid states is the way to go because it's no moving parts, but still for mass data, a mechanical drive will work. One of the things I did notice though, solid states do run fast, and like my old Dell laptop that's sitting like right next to me, it's 5 years old. It had a mechanical drive in it. In fact, I use it for backup storage now. It ran at 74 megabytes per second, and once I got this Dell Venue 11 Pro, It did it about 440 megabytes per second because it used mSATA, which connects directly to the CPU to get very fast speeds. And so, basically, what that does is um, it connects to the CPU, and then they got M.2 SATA now, which is even faster. So I was getting about 440 megabytes per second on this. So I thought, I'm just going to stop using that old laptop. 70 megabytes per second is very slow, so I stopped using it. Then I put the SSD in there, and I get about 220 megabytes per second, which ain't bad. I think the bottleneck is the laptop or maybe even the hard drive because I bought the solid state for like $50. And to know if it's a solid state drive, it should say solid state drive. And should also be quite expensive for very little space. So if you buy a 55 gigabyte, $55 1 terabyte hard drive, then it's probably a mechanical drive. Whereas a $55 solid state drive would be like 128 gigabytes. So it's one of those things. I'd rather have 850 megabytes per second on a Thunderbolt connection compared to a 74 megabyte per second on a regular USB. So they've shown that on a demo with the USB Type-C with Thunderbolt. Now there can be Type-C without Thunderbolt, which means then that they haven't gotten certified because I think you have to license it. So that means or just get regular USB 3.1 speeds. And I think they even got a regular USB connector that is USB 3.1. But anyway, it's one of those things. It's starting to get there. Another thing I saw is that they had these external docks that plugged in via USB-C, and it had to have Thunderbolt built into it so it'll run it right. So they would stick in full-size graphics cards. Oh crap, it's doing that again. Honestly, don't know why it's doing this. It's dropping frames, but it's working to an extent. But as I was saying, so they're all using these enclosures, which I've seen them before, but they had quite a few this year that they were sticking full-size graphics cards in there and then plugging them into laptops. The bad thing is you can't unplug them and have the laptop work. You have to shut the thing down, then unplug it, or shut it off and then plug it in. But the neat thing is that you can have all your, say like you have a desktop setup and then you had your laptop. You could take and have your laptop dock, which with your graphics card, so say like a Titan X, which that's the highest end graphics card you can get. Then you can plug that thing into your monitor, plug your keyboard, mouse, and even Ethernet port into it. I guess if it doesn't have an audio jack, but you could probably use like a USB audio solution. Then you could have that sit there, so when you get home, you set your laptop down, you plug it in, think maybe even plug in your power, and there you go. It says high CPU usage. Oh crud. Yeah, but anyway, so you could set that thing down, plug it in, and it would be like equivalent to having a graphics card on a desktop, supposedly. It looks neat, and even though they'll have laptops with built-in graphics cards and desktop processors, those are still kind of expensive compared to what these solutions would probably run. And so it'd be neat because then you could sit down, say you come home from like school or something, set your computer down, plug it in, and use it. Still, you'd probably get better performance your processor-wise by using a desktop. This is an interesting concept. It'd be interesting to see if you could plug that into a desktop and use the dock. Just to see, because then you could have like an external graphics card and have it code separately from the PC. So, I saw that. They showed a bunch of different stuff off. A bunch of computer motherboards have USB Type-C now. We're probably going to start seeing USB Type-C thumb drives. My Droid Turbo 2 over there, it has micro USB, which was kind of disappointing because then they launched the new Nexuses like a month before that. Cause that came out, I think, October of last year. It still had a micro USB, whereas they had USB Type-C on the new Nexuses. So I was kind of disappointed that I didn't get a device with USB Type-C last year. Maybe I'll get some kind of one this year, or maybe even just go buy the expansion card for when I build my gaming PC later on this year, just to be able to have Type C so I can run it off hard drives and stuff, because it'd be more reliable and stuff. Because right now I'm looking at, I got 1, 2, 3 drives that have stuff on them, plus cloud storage because I don't have my data centralized. So it'd be neat to have one big like RAID array, which will allow me to have redundant hard drives. So if one fails, I still have a backup of one external drive, or maybe even like a home server of some kind that's high speed. So USB Type C, I want to go buy something like that. The reason why I got this because it came with something that Google sent me. I don't have a device, so this just is pointless at the moment. So I want to see that. I want to just see a device of Type C. I might even go and end up buying a cell phone with just Type C later on just to try it out. But Type C is one of those things that's going to be around forever. It's probably going to replace USB soon, just like the old serial ports and like the PS2 ports got replaced for the most part. It's probably going to replace USB eventually. But right now, everything's still using USB 3 or USB 2. In fact, not a whole lot of places have USB 3, just like a lot of places still use the old VGA style connector still. They have not went to DisplayPort or HDMI. It says I've dropped some frames. Let's close some of this stuff out. I think I figured out my problem, but I had like a whole bunch of stuff open. Oh, it still says high CPU. That's another thing. I made the mistake of buying this, and this was like the cost of like some decently powered gaming laptop. So I'm stuck with this until I get something else. But I learned my lesson on that. The next trend I want to talk about is the smart home / Internet of Things. So if you guys don't know what the Internet of Things is, it's basically um, allowing devices that wouldn't normally connect to the internet to connect to the internet. So like a light bulb, it could have like be connected to the internet, so you can control it on like my Nexus 7, something like that. So that's what the Internet of Things does. They even have cars and stuff connected. That was one of the most common things that they showed. They showed cars, they showed homes. They have fridges now that have like cameras and stuff, and we'll get into it when we look at the product rounds. But they had cameras inside of it, so you could see inside like your fridges and stuff, and then connected to your car. They got it. Samsung has a fridge with like a big 10-inch tablet inside of it. They have so many different things. The only problem I see with it's going to use a lot of bandwidth because 4G LTE and the current internet solutions most people have now are fast enough, but you're going to need more bandwidth. So you're going to need 1 gigabit internet probably. The ability to support more devices, probably 5G internet and all that eventually. Because think about it, in the 90s, they were still running dial-up. Almost every computer had a home, but it's mostly every other home probably had a computer. Then eventually everyone got it, and then eventually everyone got a smartphone. So it's going to take another infrastructure upgrade. It'll come over time, but a lot of stuff's being connected by the internet by now. That also goes with like wearables and stuff, which is still of Internet of Things, like wearables or smartwatches, so you can see what's happening. So like this Pivotal Living that I've had since November. I'm not using it right now because it's causing some problems, but that's an Internet of Things device, so technically, because it can connect to my phone via Bluetooth and connect to the internet when it syncs it. But it's something that's getting popular. If you would have asked me about the Internet of Things a year ago, I said that's a neat concept, but it might not catch on. It started catching on. And another thing is car tech, which ties into that. Self-driving cars. NVIDIA, their keynote was having a graphics card which powers the graphics on the PC, which I kind of need a graphics computer with a graphics card to put out a better stream, which I'm going to get that like in a month or so. They're using a graphics card which powers computer graphics to power out self-driving cars with sensors and all that. It was really neat, but I just didn't think it was worth enough to write about in a video. An honorable one is the self-follow drones that Intel had, and other drones that like DJI had, robots. One of them's that Intel robot, but they had a few different robots there. OT Maker was there, which is 3D printing company, and displays, because they had LG had an 8K display that they said they're going to announce later on this year. They're going to announce a 4K display, and they're also going to announce, and they're also going to release a few other LED displays that are 4K, but the other ones were like OLED. That was neat. Samsung had some displays in their booth. They had movable displays that could like move, change a picture, and then like connect back together and change the aspect ratio, so it could be like this or like maybe like this. So they had different kinds of stuff like that. One product that I am going to show off, honestly wish I had another monitor hooked up, just because I could monitor the stream, but I don't. So I want to see how this goes. But here's one. It's called the DJI Osmo, and it's got the same camera equipment that they put in the DJI Phantoms, and I actually like it. Okay, it's dropping frames. I'm going to still try to stream for as long as I can. But anyway, so it's got like 4K video, the DJI Osmo, and it's got uh, some of the camera features. In fact, I think it's just a camera on a stick instead of being on a drone. Let's see. Let me fix this because I cannot see. Okay. There we go. So here it is, the Osmo. It basically it has a button for record. It's got a button for auto follow, so you could hold it and like move the stick around, and the camera would hold its position. And then you got a trigger right here. I don't know if it's pointing to it or not, but the trigger will allow you to move the camera around. So you can move it and move it up and down and stuff, and then you can tap somewhere else to have it turn around to you so you can take a selfie. So I think that's a neat concept. I think I might end up buying one because I was looking at a GoPro or like a selfie stick so I can put my phone on. But I think this is by far the best one, just because, oh, my mouse ain't on because I got another display up, but I can't see this in real time. So yeah. But anyway, I think this would be neat because then I could move the camera around, have it follow if I was gonna hold down that button under the record button, hold it down, and like have it camera just follow the scene and just let me move the stick around if I had like a wobbly hand. I could take a selfie with it. I honestly think it's neat. It shows an iPhone in there. Probably stick an Android. I think they had a demo with an Android. Looks like it's an iPhone 6, so it would probably fit your 6-inch size phones in there. So that's what a lot of stuff supports up to for right now. So I think it's neat. They showed people down there, so I'm wondering if I could screw this into like a tripod. And it'd also be interesting to see how the audio quality goes. But I honestly think this is really neat. It's maybe one of those things that looks really neat. Oh, you can even do 360 video. Okay, no, it's not 360 video. It's an automatic panorama. That's good. They got all sorts of different stuff. They got stabilization, which if you see here, that's very stable. If you've been watching my keynote reviews, I've been doing them on my iPad because I just felt that it was convenient, and this would have been something that would have worked. There's the camera itself. Use your phone for remote control. Supports up to 4K video. That's actually pretty good. Just looks really neat. It's got, let's see, you can mount on a vehicle. It's got a straight extension arm, a tripod, extension rod, universal mount, and a bike mount. So you could attach it to a tripod then. and it knows when to enter sleep mode. Hold on. Okay, that's neat. What else is there? I honestly think that's neat. It's got integrated microphone. You can also plug in your own microphone, which would be neat. So if you had like a external microphone, you could do that. I honestly think that's very neat. Let's see how much it is. And that feature's coming soon. Because this has been out, they just had it at CES to demo it. $649. Actually, I would pay that because that is something that's neat that would be used. 4K cam. I kind of wish there was a 1080p option, then I'll just do that. But $649 is not that bad for what it is. It's something the first of its kind. The next one is I want to show you this. This is a Star Destroyer PC, and basically it's like custom made by MSI, I think, or might have been done by someone that does modding. But it looks really neat. It's from Digital Trends. There it is. If you're a Star Wars fan, that would be the PC for you. That's showing some of the wiring. There's the PC itself. There's inside of it. I think that looks like it's just a regular computer inside of it. So just a modified case. Wow. So honestly think that's neat. It's gonna be neat to see that. Oh yeah, MSI. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Well, but honestly think that Star Destroyer PC is neat. MSI, the people that made this and the one that made the self-tracking PC that I just clicked on, which I honestly thought it was the trash can PC, finally made, and it's not going to show up again. Well, oh, here it is, but that's not the right article. But there it is. There's a trash can PC. They finally made a competitor to the Mac Pro, which it's going to be neat to see this go up against the Mac Pro. Now reviewers were not able to open inside of it because they're not finished with it yet, I don't think. But it's going to be neat to see inside of it and see how it performs temperature-wise and performance-wise against the Mac Pro, because everyone knows the Mac Pro is neat, but it isn't that much upgradable. Here's something neat. So always remember to check the patents to see if anyone has already done this, because I honestly feel like they should have checked the copyright patents before they did this, because either that or they just stole the idea, because I find it stupid that people try to copy themselves and then try to take them to a trade show where they know they're going to get caught. So I just found it stupid how they didn't show this, see this before or get caught sooner. But so always do your homework, and always check for a patent. And if there isn't one, then file your own. But anyway, so what happened is, so they hired off this one-wheeled skateboard that was made by this other company that I think was charging cheaper for theirs, and then the people that copied them were charging more. Let's see. Okay, so okay, that's what it is. Alright, so basically they did this as a knockoff, my bad. And usually that's what happens anyway. So basically the U.S. Marshal shows up to raid the booth and packs it up. And that probably freaked out some people seeing the Marshals show up and packing up a booth. And the reason why they'd bring them in, because it was in a different state from where it was filed. But basically they talk about it, and like, honestly, I think you should do your homework. And that just would have been an interesting sight to see the marshals come up and like seize the whole booth and like close it down. But just watch what you do before you be stupid, because that could save you some time and money and legal fees. So that was a one-wheeled skateboard. It was by a Chinese company, it sounds like, and the California-based Future Motion provided it. Okay, so this product was my favorite thing at CES. It is called the Volkswagen Buddy. BUDD slash, no, not slash, minus E. However you do the slash or minuses. But anyway, so basically the Buddy is supposed to be the micro van of the future. And you'll be able to drive it because it's all electric. Maybe they'll have like self-driving in it someday, because Volkswagen even hinted at that in their keynote. It's supposed to be enjoyed with friends, so it's got a big screen display on the driver's side back door. If you have a passenger on the front seat, they can bring their own iPad or any other device that has wireless charging. So like the iPad would have a case on it, and they can set it down in the stock, have the thing wirelessly charged, and be connected with the experiences that people on the back are. Because you can connect to the car and like share like videos and photos and stuff for the trip on the big screen that's on that driver's side back door. And it also has a bunch of other features. So it's like it has no handles, so you swipe in midair. It's got displays for the cockpits, so you can do different stuff. It has a mobile mailbox in the back where the postmaster can track your car, walk up to it, like push on the logo somehow and open up the compartment and put your package in there, then close it. I think that's really neat. Also, you're able to hear if your doorbell rings at home and be able to check your smart home from the van and do everything else that the Internet of Things will allow you. They had LG out there announcing a partnership and like a Berlin startup that does like video doorbells, so you can even chat and let people in and talk to them while you're driving home, and that's super neat. Another example is like the smart fridges. I think even maybe LG had one with cameras inside of it, so you can see what's in your fridge too. They had some of these concepts in the eGolf Touch, and I think I called it the Golf E, and I think it's because I thought that's what it said on the car when I watched the keynote, but it's actually called the eGolf Touch. It's an electric car that's got some of the same concepts. So it's gonna have like USB Type-C in the eGolf Touch. Supposedly it's gonna be you'll be able to use your phone wirelessly through the navigation system. So like Apple CarPlay and like Android Auto and stuff will be able to do wirelessly, because I think you have to use like a cord for that right now, and just in general, because Bluetooth only does like audio and music, so, and calling. But anyway, which is basically just audio. So basically, eventually they want to do that wirelessly, but they had Type-C in the eGolf Touch. I think they might have had Type-C in this microbus, but it's not going to be out until like 2020. It's going to be something that's coming out in the near future. They introduced this concept in 2011, called it something else, and now they've redefined it and call it the Buddy. And they also have like a 300-mile range on it, which is neat. I think the eGolf Touch maybe has something similar like that too. So it's also neat because you have a normal bench seat in the back, and then it curves behind the driver, so you can stick more than 3 people and then have lots of leg room. So I honestly think this is neat. It's the vehicle of tomorrow. So yeah. Okay, so the next one I'm going to talk about is the Intel RealSense camera. So basically, I think it has like 2 cameras on a device, and it allows you to like do 3D models and like track, do like face tracking and stuff. So I honestly think this is neat, because here they show someone as, with their face as the avatar inside of Fallout 4. So they were showing it with like a pro gamer at the Intel booth. And also when they had the Intel keynote, she came up there, started playing a game. It showed a video feed, but it showed her face, but it took the background out automatically, which I could see that helpful. maybe even like the movie industry someday, so you don't even have to have a green screen. I know that you don't have to have a green screen now because you can just use like a solid color background in like Premiere and stuff, but this would like take that concept out completely. So I think that's really neat. They showed it being able to avoid objects and follow people with like the auto follow drone and all that, which I got that stuff in there. I don't think I got the Swagway / robot thing in there, but anyway, this is really neat. I could see it be used in the future, especially for 3D modeling. It's probably the best 3D camera you can get right now, probably. Um, Also, this is somewhat related. They talked about the HTC Vive. I don't have the article in the list for the what do you call it, the show tonight, but basically they had that. I think Oculus was there too, which made the Rift. And they also just released the Rift like Wednesday. So you could stop pre-ordering it Wednesday, and it'll be like here in February or March. And people saying that it's $600 is too much for it to succeed. I honestly think that 600's not that bad, because I think the developer version was like $1,000 to $2,000, and I was expecting it to be more than that. So if it's only $600, and then plus you would have to have a high-end gaming computer for around $900 to $1,000. They say $900 on Hill, but it's probably gonna be about $1,000 to about $1,100. So it's gonna come out probably about $1,700. So in total, that actually isn't bad. Now a lot of people are giving it crap, saying that $600 is too much. I think that's not that bad for a computer. I don't know how much the HTC Vive's costing, but I think it has like its own device. And same thing with like Samsung Gear VR. You can use your own phone, which they didn't have. I don't think they had that at CES. I'm just mentioning VR in general and stuff like that. Google Cardboard, which I have one of the views up on my shelf in my room right now, it uses that same concept as the Gear VR, where you use your cell phone. So I think those concepts are neat. The only complaint I have about the ones that use your cell phones is that they don't have a 4K screen. So the only reason why I could see a 4K screen, or maybe even like an 8K screen that makes really that much sense, is if you're using virtual reality, or if you're using a big screen. Because even those 42 to 50 inch TVs, you notice it's 4K when you jump up from 1080p. But then once you get a few minutes probably into whatever you're watching, you don't notice it. Because I watched that demo, and then I watched a demo of a 4K TV one time in like Best Buy or something, and I noticed it, but then after a little while I didn't notice it. Now, I honestly still think 4K is the future, and it's going to be here, and people are going to get used to it. But the reason why I'd say even like 8K, right now 8K doesn't make any sense, because you're going to have an 80-inch TV. Same thing with 4K. You're going to have a big device for it to make sense, like a big screen TV or like just a computer monitor. On a phone, it's not going to make as much of a sense, but it's still there. But I honestly see that the major reason to have 4K or even 8K is if it's right up against your eyes on VR. Whereas like that cardboard, I can notice that it's not as clear as it could be, because it's like right against my face. So I could see the $600 isn't that bad. I think they have a great display. The Vive, I honestly want to see more about that. And they had a backpack concept one too at, I think, the Gigabyte, which is a motherboard manufacturer, and I think they make a laptop or two also, and they make like graphics cards. Honestly, think they had I think it was them, but they had a backpack virtual reality concept in a backpack, so you could probably take it anywhere you want. So right now the limitation is that you have to have a desktop computer, or if you don't, then you're going to have like a mobile device that isn't going to be as great, but it'll work because mobile devices work. But honestly, I do think VR is the future. People are saying that it's expensive, but honestly, I don't think it's expensive, because one of the things that they're talking about is being able to replace one of your computer monitors with the Rift. So you'd have your computer monitor to start the PC up and stuff, then you'd stick the Rift on and you'd have virtual computer monitors on your desk. So I honestly think that's not that bad because people do spend $300 to $400 on a monitor, but $600 for a virtual reality headset, I do not think that's that bad. NVIDIA SLI, which allows you to run 2 graphics cards at once. SLI doesn't work that great, but supposedly SLI virtual reality, which is meant for VR headsets, it does work. So it's going to be something to watch. Honestly think it's going to be neat. I do think $600 is not that bad. People say it's expensive, but come on. You're going to buy maybe a $200 iPhone every year, or maybe every other year. So surely you could probably put off buying your iPhone for a little bit to put money aside. And even now with the new payment plans, you basically pay for the iPhone in payments. So just get actually don't get a cheaper phone. Just hold off on getting yourself a new iPhone and then go or any high-end device for that matter. Just hold off for maybe about 6 months to a year. Save up the money, even save a little bit more to what you normally spend on it. Then you got your VR headset. Now the computer, that's going to be a different challenge, but honestly, I think people are going to be able to scrape money together. But it's not for the masses yet because it's going to be people that want to play games. But I could see it show up in people's homes in the next 5 years or so. But honestly, $600 is not that bad. You can read the article up there. I honestly think that they're just overreacting. I watched a technology talk show and people said they're not in the position. I understand people have families and stuff, but if you're going to spend money on $300 computer monitors and buy maybe 3 or 4 monitors, or spend that money on a 4K TV, $4,000, I think you could afford a Rift. Not everyone's going to get it right now, but I think the people they're trying to target is the gamers. I do not think they're trying to target the masses just quite yet, but I think that's going to come soon. And honestly, even after setting up demos inside probably Best Buy and stuff, and people play around with it, maybe they'll get it then. Because the Wii, that was a new concept. People did not want to play with it until they got inside the store and thought, oh, this is neat. I remember playing with the Wii the first time at a friend's house, and I thought, oh, this is so neat. I want one. So I went out and got one. Of course, I don't play it now because the Wii kind of is discontinued and a little bit dated, so I want to get a Wii U eventually, which honestly, that's not at the top of my priorities because I'm too busy. But this is a belt, by the way. I just picked it up off the ground. I need to clean my room some more, but because I redid my computer setup last night. But anyway, getting back to what I was talking to, I think the Wii was something that was weird, but then it gotten some used to, and people liked it. Same thing with the NES and stuff when Nintendo came out. People had to get used to it. So I think VR is the future. It's going to be something that's going to show up in the next few years. You're going to have to... it's probably going to also drive high-end computer sales too. And they'll eventually might even have their own processing units. And even then, some already do, PlayStation has one and stuff. So you're going to have to set in-store demos up and whatnot. I walked into Best Buy. They had a high-end gaming PC that was pre-built on display. It's a little overpriced, but for someone that did not know how to build it, I'd say they would be able to buy that and then go buy a virtual reality headset, hook it up, and then be able to use it. So I think if you know how to do marketing and stuff and have the high-end gaming PCs next to the virtual reality headsets, I think you can market both of them and probably drive up sales. Now, for the masses, I do think that what's going to happen, they're going to end up having to buy something like a Google Cardboard, which honestly not even that, because Google Cardboard is supposed to be something fun to play around with. Probably something like Gear VR, whatever else they have on the platform. Actually, Google Cardboard would be one, but I wouldn't trust that Cardboard viewer for a whole lot, just because it's made of cardboard, and plus you have to hold it to your face. I think Viewmaster makes one that uses that same Google Cardboard platform that can also strap to your face. So I see stuff like that's going to be most people going to buy. The Rift's going to probably be for the high-end gamers. Maybe if the regular people go buy it. Also, you gotta have the space so you can play the games, because you gotta be able to turn around and stuff. So that's still kind of a problem. But honestly, I think even like the Wii, people adjusted and was able to play. Because I remember trying to play like in my bedroom, which doesn't have as much space as my living room. It got hard, and then I adjusted my room, and then also adjusted how I was used to playing in my living room, and then I was able to play the Wii in my bedroom. So it's one of those things you only have to get used to using virtual reality, but it's gonna get there, and people are gonna have it. So the next one I'm gonna talk about, I have a whole bunch of stuff. Uh, this goes on the same concept. It talks about augmented reality, which is the feature of being able to have a device of a camera put something on top of something that wouldn't normally be there. This is called the This is like an Intel Smart headset from Valkyrie. There's the man right there. But it's supposed to give like X-ray vision. So like, say he has a water pipe that's got a problem, he can use like thermal imaging from the RealSense camera and the Core M7 processor built inside the helmet. Hold on. Core M7 processor, which isn't that bad because Core M processors are good for what they're used for. In fact, that's what I'm streaming off of right now, but I wouldn't recommend it for that. But I think that's good enough for you to be able to work on stuff. So like you'd use the RealSense camera, which also I think that has thermal imaging, because they were showing like a thermal imaging demo. See what's wrong without having to touch it, and then it'll be able to tell you, turn this valve, and turn this valve, and you fixed your problem before you get injured. So I honestly think that's great. It started shipping when Intel did the keynote. I think it was on Tuesday. Yeah, it was on Tuesday. So I think that's something that's really neat. It's gonna get there. Do you think it's gonna work better than probably other stuff like? They compare it to like the HoloLens, which that's from Microsoft, which is about the same concept. But the HoloLens, we've not seen much about it recently, so I think something like this. Also, this is a hard hat, by the way, too. So this is meant for industrial workers. So it's not going to be meant for regular people. But I honestly think stuff like this would be another thing of the future, too. So it's going to go along with VR and stuff, because it's got augmented reality and all sorts of stuff. So we're going to be connected and get used to it eventually. Eventually, I even think that if we have virtual reality and stuff and augmented reality, that we might not even need a TV in your living room. You might have some kind of box that tells you your TV usually go there. So then when you look at that direction with your goggles, that you could be able to see what was shown by whoever put whatever was up on the TV, and then probably have the option to change it on your headset. So I do think that's the future. Too, because augmented and virtual reality do relate to each other to an extent, and even some virtual reality headsets have cameras now. So I do think that's neat. The RealSense camera is really neat. So the last thing I do have to talk about that is the drone, and I'll mention that in a minute. What's the next one? Oh, this was neat. So changing gears a little bit. So say you're a business person. You have business suits that you don't want the harsh chemicals by the dry cleaner to touch. This is not a fridge, by the way. That thing is long. But anyway, so say you're a businessman, or like a businesswoman, or just someone that has nice, fancy clothes that can only be dry cleaned. And you don't want it to touch those harmful chemicals. Or say like you're just someone that doesn't like to use an iron to wrinkle out your clothes. This would actually replace the kitchen iron, not the kitchen iron, but the laundry room clothes iron, and also it would replace the dry cleaners, because what you would do is you'd fill the thing up with water, and it'll clean it with steam. I think there's probably some kind of cleaner you put in there too, but it'll clean it with steam. It spins it around so many times per minute. So you can put up to 5 garments and a pair of pants on the wrinkle thing. Now you could put a pair of pants on where the 5 garments go, but you wouldn't be able to get the wrinkles out compared to if you were to just stick it over on your um, wrinkle thing in the door. But you'll be able to stick that on and then stick your pants in the wrinkle spot and be able to shake out the wrinkles and be able to steam out the wrinkles within 20 minutes, and then a sanitized cycle takes like an hour and a half. So you'd be able to do all this sorts of stuff without having to go to the dry cleaners. It's like $2,000, but it's 5 garments and a pair of pants, or like if you want the wrinkles to get out. If not, you could put like probably 6 pairs of pants and only one of them gets the wrinkles out, but the other 2 would get dry cleaned. So I think that's actually really neat. It's going to be something that's going to come out. Actually, I think it's out now. They said it's going to cost about $2,000. And it does look like a fridge. It's going to be neat because you're going to have to see what to put that at in your laundry room if you do get one. Now, then again, they do have... LG did announce a combination washer and dryer too at the keynote. But the problem is they also announced a US version of that of the washer and dryer. Now, they showed 2 units of the US one, and then the other one they showed 1 unit, which has the advanced controls, which honestly I do not know if that's going to come to US. It might be because of safety concerns, but that all-in-one washer and dryer might come to the US someday. Because I think they did that in the past, have an all-in-one unit sometimes. And it's going to get marketed, and all those would even tied to the internet. So, and I think this one's tied to the internet too, so you'd probably be able to have 1 unit for your washer and dryer and then have this. Of course, you'd probably have to take the shelf down above your washer, but you'd be able to have that and your washer and dryer 1 combination unit and be able to do all your clothing needs without having to go to a dry cleaner. So I honestly think this is going to hurt some dry cleaners someday. It's going to take a while because people are still used to them. But I think that's really neat. What's the next one? I'm trying to go through as much as I can. This one's a camera that shows stuff at different angles. I'm just closing some stuff out. But here we are. So it's done by live streams, which is live stream. They do a lot of online live streaming that companies use. They do have a website we can browse the different ones, but a lot of times I'll see it used with companies on their own website. So you'll be able to film multiple angles with 1 camera. So this is neat. It's $400. It'll allow you to replace a multicam setup and also allow you to film in 4K, and you can also make virtual cameras on an app and be able to switch between them in real time. And actually that seems like that functionality that Intel tried to do. I think it was called, I would have to look back on the notes, but it was a function, I think it was called like Real 3D, like 3D Sense or something like that. I honestly forgot what it's called, but it allowed you to, the thing with that was Intel allowed you to control the different angles of the sporting event that you're at or any other event. Actually, not, yeah, you could watch it while you're at that, but most than likely you'd probably be watching at home, but you could control the different angle from your phone or whatever and be able to see the games at whatever angle you want as if you're sitting in the spot that you are. And that was a technology they partnered with someone else. I think they used like a RealSense camera or something, but it was neat because you could, like, while they're playing the game, turn the camera around the arena. They're showing a basketball game, and then other people could do that too without having to interrupt each other. And that looks neat. I'm not going to play the video for copyright reasons, but that's a super neat camera. I do think that's neat. What's the next thing we can look at? $400 is not that bad for a 4K camera neither. In fact, 4K is starting to get more mainstream now too. So here is this. It's called the Faraday Future. It's a really nice car. It's not practical, but it looks super slick if it shows up here. Okay, I just want to see a picture. That's the whole reason why I put this in there, because I know what these talk about. I just want to see the picture. If the picture will show up, I'll be happy. That video's gonna play. I can't let that happen. Fair day, if you. So, cannot play. So I'm going to switch back to my camera because you can't settings just in case my email shows up because I'm using my own Google account. But anyway, the Faraday Future would be something neat too. It's not showing up. That's nice. Crud. So, well, anyway, I'm going to get back to the screen capture. Okay, so I need to go back and I need to show the connected shoe. And the Faraday Future because I selected the wrong one. So here we go. I'm gonna just do this real quick because I put the wrong scene up. So I'm gonna load that up. And I'm gonna load up Faraday Future. So here we are. So here we go. There's the 802.11 AD router. Looks super neat. Here's what HTC and Under Armour did. They did a fitness band. That's a scale. And so this ain't finished loading. Oh, and here's the shoes. And they also teamed up with JBL. Under Armour did to make fitness earbuds. So they want to save fitness stuff. Honestly, I'm sorry for switching to the wrong scene. I had this set up for something else one time, testing it out. But here's the call. If it looks a little bit choppy, it's because I honestly know that I need to get a dedicated graphics card, which I'm going to be doing next month, and have a dedicated PC that should stream it to some extent. Okay, so there's the place where it can be controlled with a smartphone. There's a seat. There's the car itself. I honestly think it's going to be expensive to make. So yeah. What else is there? So here we are at the last two. This is the hexacopter from CES that Intel demoed. It's called the Typhoon X. It has a 4K camera and an Intel RealSense camera. So basically, this drone will auto follow you. So that means that it'll follow you wherever you go. It'll also do that without any kind of special technology for you to wear, and it'll also know to avoid objects like trees and stuff. So it's an auto follow drone, so no controls needed. It does have a control sitting there, but you don't need the controls. So there's that. I think, and also even if you do use the controls, it does have a screen built inside, so you can look at it. Honestly, think that's neat. It's going to be scary if the government ever gets a hold of that, because then they'll be able to send drones out and follow people around. So, do you think that's neat? Here's the last thing I want to talk about. I think that's it. Yes, that is. So this is the Galaxy Tab Pro S. So it runs Windows 10. Runs Windows 10. It's supposed to be like a Surface competitor, even though they got a partner with Microsoft. And it looks fanless and incredibly light and thin. Looks really neat. They said it was like almost as thin as like a standardized pencil. And this is like one less reason to bother with an iPad Pro. And I honestly thought the Samsung Galaxy Tab Pros looked neat, which I was kind of surprised they called it a Galaxy, because Galaxies are usually Androids. But I think this is neat. In fact, I even looked last year. The Galaxy Tab Pros did look neat, but they only ran Android, which can kind of not want you to get it, because you might need something that runs Windows. In fact, that's why I got the Dell Venue 11 Pro, even though I kind of messed up and got that instead of just like a regular computer with a touchscreen that had like an i5 or an i7. But I learned from that mistake. But anyway, this would work for anyone that was doing everyday computing. I honestly think that'd be neat. That's super cool. I showed here. It's got an AMOLED display. There's two USB-C ports. Looks really neat. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. I'm gonna switch back to me. Okay. So, okay, that did not show up because my CPU's starting to tap out, which probably means I need to end it. So, basically, the Galaxy Tab S Pro, I will drop the link in the chat because it froze. Um, and also drop the Faraday's Future one in the chat. Because this froze. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. Um, I know I had fun covering this from home. I hope to go to CES someday. I'll also put these in the description. But anyway, I honestly hope to go to CES someday. I better put the hexacopter in there too, but hope to go to CES someday because I honestly think CES is neat. My school schedule kind of doesn't work out at the moment for me to do it, but maybe in the future I would do it. Actually, I'll just put all the links in there. But I honestly like this um, stuff, and I honestly think technology is the future.